So now that we have learned the essentials that are not given by section 10, now we are here to learn the essentials of a valid contract that are given by section 10. So for a contract to be valid, we should incorporate all these along with the others that we have learned. Okay. So section 10 says again the same, it gets back to the definitions. It says there should be an offer and acceptance or an agreement. Agreement, we have already learned what an agreement is. You'll just write that. And then there should be free consent. Free consent is very important because there are chances that one of the parties might be, threatened to accept a contract, though he's not willing. Maybe a construction contract, a particular party is not willing to do that particular contract, but they might threaten them to do that. So in that cases, we cannot enforce them, right? When one party is not willing, we cannot enforce that contract. So it's always important for a contract to have free consent. Also, free consent should be identity of minds. Here there is one term that is called consensus addendum, which is nothing but both the parties should have identity of minds. That is when, for example, if you take A agrees to sell B groundnut oil, they both of them should be very clear as to what that particular good is. As we already saw, certainty is one of the essential element. So it's really important for both the parties to have the same idea of it. A cannot say that I'm thinking it to be sunflower oil, and B cannot say that I thought the contract to be on groundnut oil. So both of them should have identity of the minds as to what transaction they are doing. So that is free consent. And again, this free consent should not be caused by coercion. Coercion is nothing but again threatening. Undue influence is sort of blackmailing. Fraud, it's a general term. And misrepresentation is that you can take an example of A might say that this contract is being done by so and so great person or so and so experienced person of 10 or 5 years of experience, but when we go into reality, it might be being done by just a person with a no experience or minimum experience. So those sort of things can be called as misrepresentation, where they are manipulating the terms and then getting the other party sign the contract. Or mistake. Okay, in the free consent, these are all that should come into our mind. That free consent would be considered as free consent if it is not caused by coercion, undue influence. Coercion is threatening, undue influence is again just a blackmailing sort of thing, and then fraud or misrepresentation or mistake. Here you can just, I'll simply remember these as MR, F. MR is misrepresentation, C is coercion, U is undue influence, F is fraud, and then we have mistake. Remember it this way. And when a consent to an agreement is caused by all this misrepresentation, coercion, undue influence, and fraud, then that contract is voidable. We'll get back to this. There is a contract type called voidable contract. We'll learn this. What is a voidable contract in our chapters? Voidable is nothing but, suppose A threatened B to sign a contract, then A has got every right to get that contract cancelled. Okay, that is what we call as voidable, because A is not really willing to sign that, but they got it signed by exerting some influence. So that's where that contract is. A has right to cancel that contract. Okay, that is called voidable contract. We'll learn this in detail in our coming sessions. And when a contract is vitiated by mistake, there are chances of mistakes in the contract. Then it becomes void. Again, we'll learn this void in detail. Void is nothing but it will not be enforceable by law. Not enforced. Not enforced means no party can sue each other for not getting that contract done well or completed. Okay, no suing. Not enforceable by law means they can't go to the court and sue that this party has not completed the contract. Mistakes may be like, for example, you can consider mistake to be, as I told you, insurance contract should be always in written. If that is not done, we can say that is a mistake, and that mistake contracts are void, that those are not enforceable. So as per section 10, you should have an offer acceptance for an agreement, and then free consent. We've learned what a free consent is in detail. Both the parties should have identity of minds in understanding the terms. Both the parties should understand that particular contract in the same sense. As I've given you an example, A cannot think that contract to be with respect to sunflower oil, and B cannot think that to be with respect to groundnut oil. There should be a proper identity of minds between both the parties, and then there should be free consent, no influence as such. If there is an threatening or something like that, the other party can cancel the contract. Okay, it can say, I will not perform the contract. Court gives them that liberty because there's a threatening element over there. And then when there's a mistake, the contract becomes void. Void is straight away no enforcement. So hope we are clear with the two elements that section 10 gives. And now the third element is that, and here you can quote this example, A threatened to shoot B if he does not lend 2000 and B agreed to it. Here the agreement is entered by coercion. Coercion is threatening and hence voidable. Voidable is the threatened person can cancel that at any time. Okay. Now the third element that is given by section 10 is the capacity of the parties. Capacity is nothing but the eligibility. Is the really the party who is entering into the contract, is he eligible, is the point that we will be looking into it. Okay. So we'll see what the capacity means. Capacity is nothing but section 10, if you recollect, section 10 is giving us the essentials. Okay. Section 10 is giving us the essentials of a valid contract. Section 11 is giving us the capacity of the parties, that is the eligibility of the parties who can enter into a contract. Not every person can enter into a contract. There's again a few rules that are given by our Indian Contract Act. Let us see what are those rules.